You are listening to Paper and Vices. Mature content warning.
Yeah.
It is fucking Christmas.
Christmas, bitches! Sorry.
Almost not yet. We have a little bit of time.
Was it Festivus yesterday? What day is Festivus? This would have been great to look up in my notes before we started recording. What day is... not February. I know what day February is. It's after the nap month. Oh no, okay. In 2020, Festivus is tomorrow.
Nice.
I have some problems with you people, and you're all gonna hear about it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why the word Festivus reminds me of, like, Krampus.
I feel like they're related.
Yeah.
They're not, but they could be.
They could be. Yeah. I don't know enough about Festivus, and I'm actually excited about you talking about it, because I don't know, like...
it originated with Seinfeld. And, yeah. Festivus, there are Festivus games. Like there's the Feats of Strength. It's something George Costanza's dad did, who was a brilliant comedian who passed away earlier this year, and I'm totally blanking on his name because I'm real prepared. This is what happens when I record sober. So yeah, there are, let's see, Festivus games. There are feats of strength, and then what I really remember about Festivus is there's an aluminum pole. It doesn't require any decorating. Everybody sits around it, and then there is the airing of grievances, where you just get all this shit off your chest.
Do you do this before you buy presents for people or after?
I think, well, it's Festivus. Here, Festivus. That's the sound of me typing. Festivus traditions. I assumed you knew about Festivus. Okay, the Festivus poll. Yeah. Skip the hassle of buying a real Christmas tree or assembling a cheap imitation when you could just put up an aluminum pole, which you can find in a crawl space, a basement, an abandoned lot, or other vacant location. The best Festivus poles are made from aluminum so as to have very high strength to weight ratio. There's no need to spend money on breakable ornaments or other superfluous adornment. As Frank explains, requires no decoration. I find tinsel distracting. The Festivus dinner is sliced meatloaf on a bed of lettuce with a dish of peas on the side.
Ugh.
Once you're all comfortably seated at the table, okay, so it's not around the pole, I was wrong. Once you're all comfortably seated at the table, the host welcomes the newcomers and starts the airing of grievances. Instead of sharing thoughts of gratitude with those around you, relieve some built-up stress over your annoying relatives and freeloading friends by telling them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year. Don't be shy. Take the lead as Frank does and let everyone know. I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're gonna hear about it. I'm reading from Parade in September of 2019. We're gonna link the shit out of this article because it's beautiful. Festivus miracles are circumstances that have completely reasonable explanations but are celebrated all the same. Verbal recognition with a sense of awe is given to such occurrences, such as when someone shows up to the party and is asked how they knew about it, to which they reply, they were invited by a member of the group. Another Festivus miracle. Festivus doesn't officially end until a guest has pinned the head of the household in a wrestling match called Feats of Strength. That's what Feats of Strength are. Yeah. Festivus for the rest of us.
So, I mean, Krampus could come in there somewhere.
It would be a Festivus miracle.
Right. It would be.
Yeah.
You'd show up, start beating people with the metal pole.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, so like Christmas came from Europe and the Catholic Church, and if you go back deeper, pagan traditions and the Feast of Saturnina, and they needed to Christianity up, otherwise they're going to lose all their new converts to a 7-day-long orgy or something like that. Don't blame them. Here, have presents.
I just got this mental image of like, you're like, you mentioned orgies, and then you're like, here, have a present. And then like, I just got like the song, like, here's my dick in a box. Like the song, the dick.
It all comes full circle.
Full circle.
Other cultures, Hanukkah is the festival of lights, and it has deep meaning. And Kwanzaa was invented in the 70s, but it has deep meaning that goes, back to cultures that we've kind of washed over in America and all this shit. But the true American holiday is Festivus and Black Friday. These are the American
Go
holidays.
America. Yeah.
America, fuck yeah. Oh God, we're gonna get a copyright for that. So yeah, Festivus. Rand Paul, regardless of how you feel about Rand Paul personally, whether you're his neighbor had a point or I stand with Rand, every Festivus he airs grievances about superfluous government spending, and it's hilarious.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, he do.
That's amazing.
He do. He tweets them all out, and then he has a full report.
That's awesome. That's
because he's got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're gonna hear about them. One year it was shit like $200,000 to study the sex habits of quails on cocaine or some shit, and I'm just like, wow, that is like a shit ton of Section 8 housing. Just Medicaid, food stamps. That's half of a pothole filled in some cities. So yeah, they're worth reading. Happy holidays. How are y'all doing?
They've all started drinking now.
I am not drinking today. I'm taking a break. We're having kombucha.
Nice.
Which is only slightly fermented and alcoholic.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
I just can't. Well, so this is actually also my advice for the week, and so I'll explain it a little more later. But I am drinking a Colombian hot spiked beverage called Canelazo. And it's delicious.
Some of us are not white bread Pleasant Valley Sunday Americana households. What's in it?
It is, so it's basically you've probably seen it, but like it's basic. So there's this thing called panela, which is basically this really hard brick of cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
You smash pieces of it off, and then you boil it in hot water with some cinnamon sticks and sometimes some cloves. And then that by itself is something called agua panela, which is also very nice. But then you spike it traditionally with like this Colombian liquor called aguardiente. I'm butchering the pronunciation, so all our Spanish-speaking listeners will be like, but that's okay. I'm learning. It's tasty, and it's wonderful for the holidays, or if you're sick. Like sometimes in the middle of July, if I have a cold, I'm like, I want this.
Yeah, that is okay.
Yep.
Oh, it's the thing you drink when you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's spiked sugar water. That's what it is.
I mean, hell yeah.
And I have been known to substitute, like if we don't have the aguardiente, I will substitute it with other various liquors. Whiskey works okay, and I love whiskey.
If you have whiskey, you're just gonna have it neat, though, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I usually do a little splash of Coke in my whiskey. I've done it with whiskey, and it's all right. It's all right. But vodka seems to work pretty well too. So just like the smoother, clear liquids, liqueurs. Blah. Sorry,
you're a problem solver. That's what you are.
Yes, I am. And after like the third mug of it, it doesn't really matter what you pour in it. So,
yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty holly jolly. I'm down with it.
Yeah.
My vices this week. It's Christmas week. My vices are giving myself permission to sit on my ass and be done. Just like I have made the holly jolly. I am eating the cookies, and I'm done. If I do anything else, it's because I want to, not because I have some sort of like, I don't know, misplaced holiday guilt. Like I was that person for years that wanted to do all the Christmas things, and I loved Christmas, and Christmas was awesome. And Christmas is awesome. Like, I love me some Bing Crosby. I watch White Christmas all the time. My family does Christmas in July because I really like listening to the Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack, pulling out some pretty lights, getting Chinese food, and making cookies, and watching White Christmas. And so, like, one day in July, or June, depending on the year, we do that, and it's magical. But I am very much over in my old age. It started around the time I turned 29-ish, like it was right before 30 it hit. I am very over the having to do all the Christmas things. It's just like I do enough for my kid to keep her entertained. And like I genuinely enjoy the stuff I do with her because I genuinely like my child as a person, which really surprised me about motherhood. That's a whole different thing. Like, I thought it would just be like, I will love her because she is my child, because I don't automatically love other people's children. Children are just tiny people, and I don't like all generic people. But I really like my kid as a person. So doing shit with her that makes her little face light up with joy, totally awesome. And when it's Christmas related, I'm about it. And so, like, we have our traditions. Like, we go get tacos every year when we get a Christmas tree, because it's chain tacos. And we go to the playground on Christmas Day, or we go play outside for a really long time. And we get Chinese food, and we go to a movie if there's something age appropriate playing in theaters. But the only decorations are the magic friendship chain and a light up narwhal outside and the tree. That's okay. And if I don't bake 87 batches of cookies, I don't send Christmas cards. Like, that's a thing. When we start our Patreon and we're close, I might have to do Christmas cards. Kind of having a bit of a struggle there. And I have done them in the past, but it's not my thing. I send Halloween cards.
You do.
I do.
And so I think this last year we got Valentine's Day cards too.
Yes. Because there was a kit at Target, and the kid was like,
Yes.
I'm making Valentine's. And I'm like, if you are that passionate about it, it is worth $5 and half a book of stamps. Let's go. So, yeah.
Yep.
So my vice is not giving a fuck. Is that a thing?
It is.
Okay.
Especially if there are cookies involved. Now, what kind of cookies are we talking?
Cookies and not giving a fuck. So I make these cookies every year that are chocolate with white chocolate chips. And it's butter, sugar, some flour, because you have to, eggs, vanilla, dark cocoa powder, and white chocolate chips. They're delicious and crumbly and magical. And every time we have somebody over for like a game night around Christmas, I'll set aside a box of like 24 of these cookies for that night. And inevitably, my husband or one of my friends goes in my kitchen and are like, hey, Victoria, you got any more of those cookies? And like, people can bring over 24 sugar cookies from Publix, and they just eat my fancy chocolate cookies.
Of course.
Every year. I think I've made these for you like twice. They don't often make it out of the house, because December's a good month for us to have people over, because we don't do a lot of shit.
Yeah, I think you made them for me last year. They were, I think I put them, I have this weird thing. I like putting cookies in my freezer. And I think they stayed in my freezer because you made, was it last year?
That's right.
Or was it the year before? Because like, so I had one of, my daughter was born in December. One of the reasons this month is crazy. So I think it was the year she was born. You brought over like stew or soup that was amazing, and like a big ass bag of cookies.
Soup. Or no, it was the chicken herb veggie soup, because I always have herbs growing. And I'd like to say it's because I garden and I have a green thumb, and I do, but mostly it's because I'm too scatterbrained to remember to use all of the herbs that I buy in an expensive $3 packet at the store. And then I get mad at myself because I don't use all of them. So it's easier just to have alive ones that you snip as you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're working on that because it's good to have.
Yeah, no, I remember now. You just double wrap them in plastic and chuck them in the freezer. So yeah, those, and then whatever the kid wants to make. So some years that's these really elaborate Christmas tree meringues with tiny stars on top, and she takes her time decorating each one individually, and they're beautiful. And I just make the meringue and let her do the thing, and then put them in the oven. I do the egg part and the hot part, and she does the rest. Or it's a tin of cookie mix from Trader Joe's. It's A or B. She gets to make cookies. Yeah. I get to eat cookies. There are these really super involved cookies that I make with like a sour cream dough, and then they're just the little like rolly cookies with the raspberry in the middle that my husband loves, that I forget or skip out on making whenever I get the chance because they're such a huge pain in the ass and they disappear in like 5 seconds. Like I make a double batch every time and they're gone in less than 72 hours. And it's like, this was 4 hours of my life. I am a great spouse. Are you making cookies this year? Or you just eat? Because you've got like, you've got a shiny new house and a shiny new kitchen and a shiny new child.
Yeah. No, I'm letting everybody else bake and cook and do all the things. So yeah, no, my mom makes these chocolate chip cookies that are really good. So I'm hoping to get some of those, but we'll see. I don't know. I might, like, here's the thing. Like, if I bake, it's because I get like this random wild hair at my ass where I'm just like, I need to bake now. And then hopefully I have all the ingredients to bake. Otherwise the feeling fades away. So yeah, not unless it's for a special purpose, like infusing some herbs.
Yeah, you're real
But,
good with herbal baking.
Yeah. But if it's just baking, just like to have like I like making snickerdoodles. Those are pretty fun because those are easy to make. But yeah, no, probably not this year.
Well, and baking,
I'm just gonna say no.
Baking with children can be incredibly stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It is. That's why we went from, I used to bake all the time when my kid was under 3 years old. And then she hit this age where she's like, I'm going to do it too. And of course she is. And of course I bake with her at least once a month or so. But like, dude, it's not the same meditative experience it was.
No.
We still do it because it's important to her and I want her to have those memories and I want her to feel confident doing her own shit. But there's like a 50-50 chance that instead of baking the last batch of cookies this year that I have planned, I'm going to have raspberry stars from Trader Joe's, and that's okay.
It sounds like a good plan.
Look, they all fucking look pretty on the table. It's fine.
They do, yeah. And like you said, it's not like, Publix brand, which are good cookies, but they're not quite the same as like Trader Joe's.
No.
So,
Trader Joe's is the happy place though.
It is. And most people that are listening probably know what Trader Joe's is. They probably don't know what Publix is. I'm just realizing.
It's a Southern American thing. It's the grocery store where your grandma shops.
Yeah.
And it's really clean. Yeah. It's like real clean all the time.
You know what? We were so excited about our cookies and our hot spiked beverages that we forgot to talk about what we were reading.
Yeah. What are you reading?
I love it. We're like cookies and spiked liquor.
Fucking Festivus, bitch. Yeah.
That's right. So, like you were mentioning, I'm in a new house. And while I was I found this book while I was packing to leave the other house. And so I put it like towards the top of a box of books. Because remember, like, I'm like, okay, I can't have like hard. And I started packing like way early because I was very pregnant while we were, going through all this stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm going to start packing early while I could still sit on the floor comfortably. Yes. And so it's called The Darkest Minds by Alexandria Bracken. And I, for some reason, like we've talked about this before, sometimes I'll lose interest in books, and usually it's because like I'm just not tracking with the plot. Not that it's bad or wrong or anything. It's just like, okay, I'm not feeling the vibe right now with a book. But I remember loving this book and then for some reason not finishing it. So, and this was years ago that I got it. I don't know, 2012 is when the cover art is. So I don't know. 2012 is when it came out. For some reason, I never finished it. So I've decided when I was unpacking the box, I grabbed it. And so that's what I'm reading. It's about these like kids that, it kind of reminds me of like the Umbrella Academy. But like maybe like slightly, I don't know, like these kids just all of a sudden like start developing magical powers. And then like the magical powers, like, and this part I didn't find out yet, But like the parents end up sending them away to like a concentration camp because they have these powers.
That's not an X-Men. That's a different thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a different thing. But you know, so I'm excited to actually finish it this time because it was a really like it's a good start. I don't know why I abandoned it. So who knows?
Because you have 3 kids. Well, you didn't in 2012.
I didn't.
You were,
But
well,
I was
2012 was
going.
busy for you.
It was. I was probably going through a divorce. That's probably what I was going through.
You were not going through a divorce. You were holding my hand while I was having a slow and terrible mental breakdown.
Oh,
That was the year I
was
moved
that
in with my mother-in-law. That was
Oh
that,
yeah,
and had the surgery and the thing. That was that year.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun times.
That was the year the shit with your friend not giving back Game of Thrones season 1 happened. And that's enough
Yes.
about that year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So,
on happier notes, what are you reading?
there's an author I love. There's a lot of authors I love. I say that a lot, but if I say it, it's because I've read at least 4 or 5 of their books. Grace Draven she's amazing. She was when I started really getting into reading shit on my Kindle, she was one of the first authors, one of the first fantasy romance authors I read. And she has this way of writing characters that are beautifully human, even if they're not human. And her character development and depth is just something I really like. I've read, at this point, I think there's 2 short stories of hers I have not read. I've gone through her whole catalog. And she's really good at not using Deus Ex Machina. Like, she doesn't break the rules of her own world. Not everything is solved by magic. Like, there may be magic. It's not going to fix shit. Not all of the shit, anyway. Usually it's going to cost you quite a bit if you use it.
Yeah.
So she did this, what do you call it? Is it an anthology when it's 2 short stories? She teamed up with Elizabeth Hunter, who's another amazing author, and did All the Stars Look Down a couple years ago, which was a duo. That's what it is, a duo of Christmas stories. And Elizabeth Hunter's was sent in her Elemental Vampire world, which is really cool. Really good series. Kick-ass vampire girl who wears Doc Martens. Always down for it.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and she didn't start out as a vampire. Like, it was a super conscious choice made on her part, which I appreciate. It's a whole thing. Anyway.
Okay, sorry. I think I remember that. And I never finished that series, but I started reading it.
You should finish it, and then you should read the Erin Chronicles. Oh, so many tears, but so cathartic. Anyway, Grace Draven and Elizabeth Hunter, from what I understand, are friends in real life. And they do stuff together. Like, every year or 2, they release a set of short stories together, which is amazing. You can no longer buy, I think it was All the Stars Look Down. Had a gold cover and a red Christmas ball on it. You can't get it anymore. I have it on my Kindle, so sorry about you. But you can, you can buy Grace Draven's short story, Sunday Child, on its own, and it is worth every bit of the $2.99 price and then some. It's a good quick read when you're curled up by your fireplace, or if you're in Florida, your AC unit, looking at the twinkling lights on your tree. So Grace Draven doesn't break the rules in her own world. In her Radiance series, 2 of the characters, they're both humanoid. Like, it's not that. It's not like different species, but they're not both human. One species is one race is magical, one race is not, so they can't have kids. And even though they fall deeply in love with each other and they have each other's backs and blah 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 blah, they never have a child together. Like, she doesn't break that rule, and I love it. I love it. And in Sunday's Child, the child of one of the characters is autistic, and there is magic, but she at no point tries to fix the autistic child or use magic to fix them. They are what they are, and that's fine because it's how they are. And I really appreciate that. Really, really do. So, it's a beautiful story. You should read it. Much like we did for Halloween, I think we're going to do a blog post. If you want warm and fuzzy, well, we're recording this with like 2 weeks ahead, so it might be out earlier than the episode. There's going to be a blog post about holiday books. And if you're not in the mood for like something like deep and beautiful, like the vibe the story gave me at the end, and part of this is because of what's in the story, was like a dark, deep winter's night where you can hear the snow falling. Like you're calm and at peace and everything is good. And it's not perfect, but it's beautiful at the end. And like, yeah, I'm into that. But if you want like, I don't know, man titties for Christmas, I'll have a couple books up there because there are some authors that do, like the alien romance stuff and the romance 15 book long series that do holiday versions. So if you want a one off, if you just want like some man candy to read about this holiday season, we'll have a list for you. We'll have a list of some classics, different holiday vibes for you to read.
Maybe I can find something on Krampus somewhere.
Rule 34, there's got to be something like that for fiction as well. So,
yes.
So we're talking about holidays, Christmas, any sort of early, mid-winter thing you celebrate. If we don't mention your holiday, it's because we're ignorant white bitches, not because we don't believe in your right to celebrate whatever the hell you want. So, what are your holiday traditions?
Hold on, sorry. My brain just did this whole like...
That's okay. I'm reading your notes, though.
You are. No, I know, but like... never mind. It's okay. I can't tell you what my brain just did, but it's okay.
Why can't you tell me? That would be
no. I don't know what it did.
Oh, okay.
For some reason,
I was like, we put up the mature content warning.
I did. I think what it was is we were talking to the audience, and then all of a sudden it's like deer in the headlights. Oh fuck, she's talking to me. Like, yeah. That's what happened in my head. I'm like, my traditions? I had no idea this is what we were talking about.
Only I'd written it down.
If only. So, okay, in my defense, here's the thing with Christmas. As far as Christmas traditions, like it all kind of blurs together, but I will say that like okay, so mentioned the Canelazo earlier. So my husband is Colombian. You can't have like a small Colombian Christmas. Like
a small Colombian Christmas is like 75 people because if you're okay, Lee is my friend. Lee and I have been friends for a very long time. At some point when I lived in Florida, I got to know her husband's mother well enough that when she started rounding up all the kids to take them to the playroom and whatever, she just rounded up my kid. And when all the kids came in and hugged her, my kid just did because it's family and food, and it is a fantastic culture, but they don't know how to do a small, intimate thing.
No, there's no small intimate. It's fun though. It's a big party. So we do. So every year on Christmas Eve, and this is what's really amazing about being like one of the many things that's amazing about being married to a Colombian is like there's never any arguments over like which side of the family is going to get Christmas because they always celebrate on Christmas Eve. So we go over to their house, like someone's house on Christmas Eve, and then at midnight you open presents. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 75 or you could be 2. You stay up until midnight to open your presents. And then we go home and we sleep until, not anymore because it doesn't matter. Like, we're usually up by 7, but between 7 and 10.
I was going to say, you're sleeping now. This is new.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait a second. I had a flashback to like before. Yeah, and then I'll usually go to my very small family gathering on Christmas Day, and it's basically us and my parents, and it's cool. My brother comes in with his my brother and sister-in-law. They live in another state, and they usually come in like mid-December, like somewhere in between our anniversary and our daughter's birthday. They'll come in, and we celebrate Christmas with them.
So for us, I already talked about how we do a tree and tacos, which is cool. One of the things my husband was really adamant about when we first got married, and we had no fucking money, y'all. It's funny because they talk about like wearing fancy makeup and house shit and all our vices and this, that, and the other. Y'all, we were so motherfucking poor for the first 5 years we were married. And then we spent the first year and a half, almost 2 years after that, digging out of the hole that being poor was. Because it's not just like, you're poor, and then you get a job making good money, And it's all better. You're poor, you get a job making good money, and then you have to like get out of the circle of poor hell and recycling credit cards and borrowing money from your mom to pay for a tire that you've been in.
Yeah.
But he was always so fucking insistent that we had a real Christmas tree because it was really important to me. This is just one of the reasons why, like, he's the greatest guy ever. For me. Like, some of y'all wouldn't be able to handle it. But for me, he's the greatest guy ever. So we get a real tree every year, and we do tacos in a tree. And so our kid knows at this point, when we say, she's nagged the hell out of us the last 2 years. Can we go get a Christmas tree and tacos now? We took Halloween down. It's like, your birthday is between Halloween and Christmas. My birthday, mommy and daddy's anniversary. Our November is like Lee's December. We have 2 birthdays and an anniversary. I don't know why this happened. Well, I do know why. I was there for all of it. But that's what happened. So on Christmas Day, we stay super chill on purpose. Sometimes I will get a bug up my ass and make Christmas breakfast. Sometimes we do a huge spread of Chinese food for dinner. We go to the movies if there is an age-appropriate movie at the theater. Otherwise, we'll watch a movie at home. And we spend a lot of time outside or at the playground. It's not fun this year. I did not want to do it this year after the whole, like, COVID thing, because it's not funny anymore. But before COVID, and usually before we had a kid or on our way home from the playground, we would drive through Starbucks, because Starbucks is open until like 2 p.m. on Christmas. And then we would go sit in the Target parking lot and pretend it was the zombie apocalypse, because it was the only time during the year that it was empty during the days, like Christmas and Easter. It's not as fun this year, so I don't think we're going to do that.
I didn't realize you guys did that. That's hilarious.
Dude, have you ever been in an empty Target parking lot? It's like, damn. I don't know why, but it's surreal and calming. But our main thing is that we tell a lot of people no. It's a chill family day. Last year, our kid's really into Legos. My husband is really into Legos. So there were 4 hours of Legos at our house. I just sat on the couch and read while they played Legos. It was fucking magical. I am going to tell everybody no to protect those 4 hours.
That sounds magical indeed. Yeah, Legos are easy to get involved in. That's funny. We did Legos last year. So I don't know. And I've been kind of told like no more Legos. Although
yeah, no, that's not going to happen here.
I know. They're just kind of like they never really get boring. So, and there's always so many, there's like 50 million fucking sets out there. So,
There's 50 million fucking sets out there. And I made the mistake like a year and a half ago. I was saying to my husband, who still has several sets in boxes, hey, your main big bucket of general Legos, do you want to give those to child to play with? No, those are my Legos. Yeah, but no, those are my Legos. We'll buy her own. Okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I like to think like this is funny and I don't get it and haha, they're weird. But wait until she's old enough to read Harry Potter. It's gonna be like, no, this is my copy.
Yeah.
Let's go get you your own.
Well, she's gonna dog ear the pages a little differently, so it's only fair. I don't know if do you dog ear your pages?
I used to, and now I use
your Kindle now.
Now I use my Kindle. What I'm really good for is if a book has a dust jacket, just tucking the flap in. But I'm also a big fan of Post-it notes, Target receipts, texting myself what page number I was on. I don't dog ear pages anymore. It bothers me.
Oh,
I'm a grown up now. I'm a real grown up.
I went through a phase where I didn't. Like I was like super like actually it's funny because we were talking about the Darkest Minds books that I'm picking up again, and I actually I realized I'd never finished it because I found there's a paperclip in it to mark my place where I stopped, and that's the only reason I really know that I like didn't quite get to the end. And then I was like, wait a second. But no, I dog ear the shit out of my stuff now, and I'm not ashamed. I feel like I should be, but I'm not. So
As long as it's yours, I don't think it really matters.
yes, that's true.
But for me, I tend to not anymore. Unless, okay, no, here's the thing. If it's a hardcover or a larger paperback, like one of the print on demands from an indie author that I've bought, I will not dog ear it. It bothers me because then it doesn't like lay nice. If it is a standard sci-fi or fantasy paperback, like a ye old Tor paperback, it's getting dog eared, is what it is. You may look at all my Dragon Rider of Pern novels. They are accordioned lovely.
Oh, nice. How did we get on this? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
Legos,
sober.
Legos
That's
and
the
reading.
problem.
You need alcohol. So we've been talking about Christmas traditions. So what are some of the best parts, or the worst parts of Christmas to you?
I really hate how shitty people are at Christmas. Like that sounds terrible. And not all people are, and there are a lot of beautiful examples of grace and giving and beauty at Christmas time and, Reader's Digest moments, but oh my god, have you gone to Target in December? Fuck this noise. Like
Nobody's really nice.
no, and it's like every culture or religion that does a midwinter holiday, like part of the point is be humble and don't be dicks. And yet American commercialism has been like, hey, elbow that old lady to get the last clearance TV. It's fine. It's in the
Yes.
spirit of Christmas. And so, and don't get me wrong, like when they first put out the Christmas shit at Target and you get to go through it once or twice with your family when it's all set out and pretty and you can smell the new wrapping paper and pick your wrapping paper rolls for this year for all the gifts you'll send out in January, like me. I think you're the only person that got your gift on time last year. And don't just lower your expectations for this year. It's still downstairs. Like, I get that. And we usually do it when we do tree and tacos, if not some other time that week. The kid loves looking at the stuff. I love looking at the stuff. Last year, I got a tiny little statue of a cow and a pig and something else that was not a reindeer with reindeer antlers, but I got them after Christmas on clearance for $3. They just amused the fuck out of me. People get really not nice. And I think it's because we put so much pressure on ourselves as a society to have this perfect commercialized Christmas. And not when we were very first married, but for a couple years, I did that too. And it just made me really unhappy. It sucks. I don't like that people aren't nice to each other. I hate going to the grocery store around Christmas. It's been a thing that I don't, well, now we're those bougie white people and I do grocery delivery and I tip very well. Thank you. But I don't go to the grocery store with the kid after, usually honestly starting 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I just, like, if it can at all be avoided, I won't, to the point that I will either leave husband and child at home or I will go in and leave them in the car because it's so stressful and there's so many people. And I don't think people intend to be disrespectful of other people's space. I think it's that they just don't think. Like, we get really tunnel visioned, and whether your pressure is coming from yourself, your children, your mother-in-law, whatever, there's a lot of pressure to have this really fancy, magical, bougie time. And I just don't feel it anymore. Like, there was a point when I needed perfect Christmas, right? Like, it was the bright spot at the end of the year. It was like Dr. Seuss says, a light that lets you know you're halfway out of the dark. And I had some rough Christmas years growing up. Like, nothing horrible. Like, my dad wasn't an alcoholic or anything, but my parents had rough childhoods and they carried some of that into adulthood. So I just had this thing where I thought Christmas would make it all better. And if I worked hard enough and I did enough and I spent enough money and I baked enough and I bought enough presents, that I would get perfect moments. And the thing about perfect moments is that when they happen, they aren't planned and they are hella messy. My most perfect Christmas time moments have been playing Legos with wrapping paper everywhere after we told other people, no, we're not going to hang out on Christmas. Okay, thanks, bye. getting tipsy at your mom's and making a paper chain.
Yep.
The reason we go to the movies is because the first year my husband and I were together, well, it had been like a year and change because we got together in November. I had all this food at my house to make him beautiful Christmas dinner. And the power went out in my apartment through building faulty wiring, and all the food in the fridge went bad, and I didn't have power to cook, and he showed up, and I was sobbing and apologizing in a hot mess. And so we went out and saw a movie and then had candlelit Chinese for dinner, and it rained because it's Florida. And it was a really perfect moment sitting in my shitty, tiny Winter Park apartment having candlelit Chinese with this man I was head over heels in love with. That was not planned. Like, you don't plan moments, but I think there have been so many times in my life that I have needed the hope of Christmas that I held on to it tighter than I should have. And I am very blessed. And part of it is I have consciously made choices to set up a life for myself where I don't need it as much as I did. And no shade if you do. No shade if, Christmas is just what butters your biscuit. Because we have a mutual friend who lives in Minnesota, and she basically has an orgasm when she plugs in Christmas lights. And good for her. No shade. That's her jam. But it took me until I was almost 30 to realize I like Christmas lights. I like Charlie Brown. I fucking love cookies. And I love the Star Wars Holiday Special with riff tracks, guys. Otherwise, it's 22 minutes of Wookiee at the start. And I can't. I've purposefully built a life where I don't need Christmas to be some grandiose thing. And I have been blessed to have enough perfect moments to know you can't plan that shit. So
yeah,
I'm good with low-key messy Christmas. It's my preference now.
Yeah.
But bitch, you fuck with my Halloween plans or my Halloween cupcakes and we're gonna have words. So there's a balance.
All right. No help. Oh, that's funny.
This is supposed to be a short answer. Sorry.
It's okay. It's funny though, because Christmas, I think, is a big deal. It's a big deal to me, but I think it's also a big deal, like I was talking about earlier, the whole Colombian Christmas thing. Like, it's a big event. And so by the time it's done, I'm just like, I need a break. And then New Year's is like right around the corner. but yeah.
I play Portal or BioShock every New Year's Eve with noise canceling headphones on. And from 11:50 to 12:10, I pop an ear off in case the kid wakes up. She never does. And then I play some more. I'm super exciting.
It is exciting though. I don't know. There's usually, I don't know. We're usually at some party, but it's good. No, lots of parties, lots of things. I think the part that I miss about, well, I can't say I miss because I experienced it as a kid younger than 8, and I'm way older than 8 now. Plus about, 30 some odd years. I miss the whole concept of white Christmas. There's just not there's no snow. It's usually really fucking hot in Florida for Christmas. So I really try to just lean into, I don't know, the fun times and going to family and friends' houses and that kind of thing. But it does get overwhelming. So I'm very excited for those low-key messy moments. I have been a little bit better over the years about slowing down a little bit. And to some extent, the kids have kind of helped with that, because it's I don't know, my kids are really roll with the flow troopers, and we drag them all over the world and all over everywhere and keep them up late.
Your kids are better travelers than I am.
They're such troopers, and I love them so much. And I love that about them. Yeah, but we've noticed as they've gotten a little older that it's kind of okay, now is a time where we don't need to necessarily need to rush to 15 different parties. Instead, we can go to 2 and have a good time and it's all good. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this year plays out, as far we still don't have definite plans as far as who's going where and everything, because with new baby, she's not a newborn, but she's little.
She's still at that age where cluster feeding could just pop up.
Yeah.
And
No,
that just takes you
it's still
down
kinda
for
like
like
the
2 days to a week.
yeah. Yeah. That and then like there's still like germs and I don't know. It's like she's that little. So we're just like, okay, well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have people come to us. We'll see.
I'm coming down to see you in like 2 months. And it's not going to be Christmas, but it's going to be a good time. Because last time I saw you,
It
you
is.
couldn't drink.
Yes. Yeah, no, this is gonna be amazing. No, and it's cool because our listeners will hear all about it.
It's going to be a good time. I'm excited. We'll
I'm nodding
probably
my head.
Yeah.
Everybody can see me.
Yes. We are recording this after the children are in bed. So no, but that's Christmas for us, and I think we've both like you go to a lot of places, but yours is also low key in its own way. Like your Christmas tree is kind of small. You put up lights. I don't think you bought a shit ton of decorations for the new house, did you? Like we haven't talked about you buying a shit ton of decorations. You're just like, this is enough for the presents to fit under.
Yeah, well, and focused on just general house decorations. It's expensive.
Hang your damn pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
I know.
you know, maybe Christmas perhaps doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps is something more. Spiked sugar water and cookies and Legos and not going to Target. Every time I walk into Target for like last 5 years at Christmas, and I still do it this year, I'll talk at some point I will talk myself into it's not Walmart. Next year I'll tell you the story of when my mom and I went to Walmart on Black Friday when I was in high school, and it's hilarious.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like the running of the bulls in Pamplona. Anyway, I end up going for something. Target or Publix, or where do I go other than Target or Publix? That's upsetting. Anyway, I'll go for like one thing, and inevitably I will be in there for like 5 minutes, and I'll just start singing, "It's beginning to look a lot like fuck this." And then I go home. Just, like I have the whole song at this point. Like there's a whole thing. It includes talking about the Amazon guy. It's great.
Should record it. We'll record it and release it for our Patreon.
I
next
am
year.
sure that people want to hear me sing "It's beginning to look a lot like fuck this."
I do.
You've heard it before.
But not recorded.
There's a reason. So I would love to know what you guys do for Christmas. If Christmas just butters your biscuit and you are just one of those people that like you count down to it all year, let us know, because there's no shade in that. Like I built up Christmas because I needed it at various points in my life, but that does not mean you like Christmas because you need it as an unhealthy coping mechanism. You could just really fucking love Santa, and you do you, boo. Whatever makes your weird little heart happy, lean into that. And so I want to hear about it. What do y'all do for Christmas? What are y'all reading over Christmas? Do you not read over Christmas? Because I know people that are just like, oh, I'm so busy, I don't read. And I'm a homebody, so I don't understand that shit.
It gets hard, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, let us know. And in the meantime, don't be an asshole. Smoke a joint.
Eat a cookie.
Take care of yourself. And eat a cookie. Eat a fucking cookie.
Eat like
a batch of
4 cookies. Put them in the freezer
Yes.
for a few hours. Make a hot drink. And then just cold cookies, hot drink. Go to fucking town. Sorry. I interrupted your thing.
No, that's amazing. Like, I can't do any better than that. I think that's a great way to end. All right. We will see you next week, or next time.
This has been a production of Paper and Vices, copyright 2020. This episode is presented for entertainment purposes only, and any vice should only be pursued within the legal boundaries, common sense, and personal responsibility of each person. Please check your local laws. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and guests only, and do not in any way represent the views of Paper and Vices LLC or any named persons, nor should they be considered professional, medical, or legal advice. Previous episodes and other commentaries can be found at paperandvices.com.